Ladies and gentlemen, box to box football. Jack and James here. Welcome back to the channel. Sorry that I've been away for a little while. Again, busy summer, lots of weddings, lots of things going on. James always super busy, but is kind of holding the fort down here and doing a lot of uploading. So massive credit to James. James, how are you? First of all, what's going on?
Oh, good. Busy, as we said, busy.
Yeah,
Just summertime's always a very I keep on saying the same word, busy. But
busy.
we but,
Yeah.
but we want to stay on top of the football.
For real, and guys, I don't know if you can tell here, probably from the shine coming off my forehead, or maybe the fact James is in a vest, but it is hot in the UK right now. So for those of you watching from outside the UK, it's hot over here, and it's in the UK. It's a different type of heat. It's muggy. It's not fun. But anyway, let's get on to the important stuff. You don't want to hear me nattering on. James, reigning champions Arsenal, coming up to defend the title for the first time in a long time, and we're approaching. I'm going to just stick my neck out and say this is probably the most excited I've been for a Premier League season, maybe since I can remember. Um, I'm looking at the quote unquote big six, which I think is a bit of a joke nowadays. I mean, Spurs finishing 15th like 2 years in a row. I don't know if you can be a big six team if you're gonna be finishing like that. Man United yo-yoing around, same with Chelsea. But anyway, of the big six teams, five of them are new managers. And I'm not talking about we haven't got Luis Enrique who's joined the league, or Klopp has come back, or Mourinho has come back. We're talking about kind of unproven quantities within working at really big teams and succeeding within the Premier League. Xabi Alonso, I know, was at Real Madrid, but that was an unmitigated disaster. Iraola had a really nice spell at Bournemouth, and I know people are excited about him, but we don't know what that's going to look like, to be honest with you. Michael Carrick, since he came in, most points, more points than anybody else, hooray. But also, this is a guy who did a pretty average job, I think, at Middlesbrough from before. Enzo Maresca, I would say, largely failed at Chelsea and is replacing probably the greatest manager of all time, or at least certainly in the conversation in Pep Guardiola. So there's a lot of changes, a lot of turmoil. I'm going to get into it with you about Arsenal, but the PGMOL, IFAB, there are going to be some rule changes, I think, around corners, which are going to disrupt the Arsenals of the world and the Man Uniteds of the world who have profited from these kind of set pieces as well. How are you feeling going into this season, right? I think the Vinny Jr. saga was kind of there. You've got the midfielder, you've got Bruno Guimaraes. Newcastle have been eviscerated. Spurs are spending 200 mil on a couple of players. It's all kicking off. How are you feeling getting into the season? I'm sure you can tell I'm excited by the way I'm talking.
Jack sounds very excited for it. Jack, the biggest thing I find is that I think we're in like uncharted territories, don't really know what to expect. And you say that it's like other years, if it was Man City would be by far the but in my opinion, by far the team to go ahead and win it and like dominate because of that. Some people look at us a certain type of way, and for a lot of fans going into the season, they're believing that okay, if my team get to a good start, we can do it, and why not? Like generally, this season, Jack, is such an unknown, and it's especially with like a lot of teams. Like let's say, for instance, Chelsea have no Champions League football to worry about. A new manager, yeah, in Xabi Alonso, probably the best manager that they've had since a Conte, Jack. Overall, like you have to be excited for that. Signings hasn't really inspired them as much, but again, Chelsea do have a dangerous team. Manchester United, I'm liking what they've been able to do, but they need a couple more to kind of take them over to the edge. Liverpool,
Just quickly, who put a £35 million release clause in Yuri Tielemans' contract? That was a
Jack,
dumb decision. I don't know whose idea was that.
Jack, when I seen that, I'll be like, that is one of the signings of the season. Why? Because I think it's going to free up Bruno. Bruno drops deep too much. Now think about it. They have this deep line playmaker, something that they haven't had since Pogba, who can put the balls towards Bruno. I think that's going to be an unreal signing. And then like
Liverpool.
Liverpool, sorry,
Sorry,
Liverpool
yeah.
on the other. Ja- Liverpool, to me, I think last season was a blip, and obviously them having the new manager, let's see how he adapts. But Jack, generally, I know Mo Salah's gone, but there's a side there that can seriously compete. That can seriously, to me, not just I'm not talking about just get a top four spot in there, but could possibly think of challenging Jack. You know, Isak, you really trying to tell me that Isak is gonna have the season that he had last season? I don't see that happen. Verts, I still think Verts has immense quality, and I think he's going to show everybody the stands that he has. And you know, a lot of players, I think Premier League football kind of works in two ways. Is either they bang in the first season, or the second season they turn it on. We've seen it with
Right.
so many, we've seen it with so many players. One, I'm going to mention David Silva. I thought he had an all right first season at City. Second season, he took it to the next level and never really looked back. So I think Verts is going to be like that. I
So
look at Arsenal. Go
go
on,
on,
Jack.
go on. So if it's okay with you, and I think you were
Yeah.
just about to go there, what I'd like to do is go through those quote unquote big six. Again, I kind of want to get away from that a little bit, maybe, but I think it's good topic of conversation just because of how flashy Spurs have been in the market. I kind of want to go team by team, not in any order, just in a random order, but just have a little bit of an analysis of where they're at going into this year, what they've done in the window, what they still could do in the window. I think you were just about to start talking about your Arsenal. How are you feeling? I'll mention a couple of things, some jumping off points for you. Rice, is he kind of hurt? He's absolutely the kind of character who plays hurt, which I think is an awesome trait. It's why he's such a legend. Saka and kind of playing a bit hurt as well. I forget. I think it's Saliba with the injury as well. Guimaraes seems to be the one big signing. I know you got that winger, I think, to replace Trossard. I think obviously the talks with Vinny Jr. There's clearly big money available for a left wing signing. How are you feeling going into this defending season, and also some of the rule changes from set pieces? Are people looking into that too much, or are you worried about that?
I haven't even heard too much about it. If I'm being honest, Jack, I'll be real with you right now. I'm very disappointed in Arsenal. I think when you win the title, and especially the way that we did it in the first season, you're expecting us to come in and have a splash, do something that makes everybody go, "Oh, problem." You know, I can bring up so many teams who've won in the past and gone on to do and gone on not just to sit on their laurels but keep on doing. Man United when they won their first title back in 2000 in like seven, yeah, before they went on to win their three in a row. Jack, do you know what they did the next season? They signed Anderson, Nani, and Carlos Tevez.
Yeah, bloody hell,
Three
yeah.
players, three players to bolster their attack. Yeah, we knew Jack. What was Arsenal's biggest problem last season?
Yeah, it was up front, wasn't it? Yeah, and yeah, Joker. Yeah,
So,
it's
so Arsenal let their best finisher go in Trossard and bring in a player who's an unknown, but again has some good moments in it. But you never know how he's going to adapt. Our
sure.
biggest problem was on the left hand side, maybe up front, maybe another 10. Yeah, we haven't addressed that yet. And now, Jack, you're coming into what? 2 weeks before the Premier League starts, maybe a month before the transfer window starts, it comes into panic stations. It comes into, if the price that you want for a player right now, add it like Jack, add another 15, 20 million onto that. Because teams don't want to sell right now. Because if they sell, yeah, what they have to do, they have to bring in. And then that price is gonna hire, that price is gonna hire. I
You
think
know,
Arsenal kind of messed up the start so far in my eyes.
you know what scares me? I think that Rafael Leao, whose agent is pushing him everywhere, is going to start. You know, maybe the board starts going, oh, maybe we should just do it. If this was 3 years ago, 2 years ago, even, I'd be saying, oh, James, this might be really, really cool. The fact it's now, and the fact that he's very publicly trying to make a push for leaving Milan, and then all the teams he's been offered to are going, yeah, no, we're good. It's not a great sign, is it? And the drop off from Vinny Jr. down to Rafael Leao would not be good. Um, any other players you've been linked with who you think might be able to fill that gap?
Jack, I absolutely love Rafael Leao. I don't know why everybody's hating on him that much. I think in terms of you, we need to get out of this mindset as football fans. Leave all these stats alone. Oh, somebody presses like this. Jack, can you teach somebody how to dribble at the age they're at right now? What's harder to teach? Somebody how to dribble the ball, beat players, and like create chances, or somebody how to win the ball back and press. What's harder to teach?
Yeah, I think you could probably coach the latter, but the
You
former's
you
quite
can you
difficult.
can coach somebody to press the ball.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, Dembele wasn't known as the biggest presser of all time. Look at Jack, look at what he did. Mbappe, you to say he's not the biggest he can press.
Well, with Leao too, as much as I know you mentioned about the dribbling and stuff, I think the reason why I think it's a year or two too late to be getting overly excited his main threat is he's explosive. He's like a crazy athlete. The moment he's on the pitch, he's probably out of all 22 players the most athletic player on the pitch, and that
Yeah.
is slowly starting to decline, slowly but surely. So I think it's a bad time to make the signing. I do look at PSG and I look at Liverpool's approach for Barcola and think, ooh, can Arsenal maybe dip their oar in there? I'm sure the same with you. You'd much prefer somebody like maybe Desiree Doué or somebody of that nature from PSG. But I think Barcola is the one who's available. Would Arsenal get involved in that, or have you heard anything on that?
Jack, listen, Barcola would be an unbelievable signing for me in my eyes, but at the same time, it's just the price tag is just added. It's ridiculous. But you have to look at to me where football's at right now. I don't think you must look at the price tags anymore.
I
Before
agree.
price tags mean something, it don't mean anything now. So if
So
it's a slap, Jack, if you sign for a team, you're probably worth a good 10 million now to a
yeah,
football
thanks.
team. You know,
31 years old, never played pro. Thanks. But look,
left-footed. He's left-footed.
left footed. That's true. They're in demand at the moment. Look, I think one thing that's really fascinating for me though, James, as well, is I love Elliot Anderson so much. I think he's unbelievable, right? And again, actually, funny to what you've just said, a lot of his best attributes are things you can coach, right? You can't necessarily coach the desire, but I also think he has quality that goes with that kind of defensive monster powerhouse thing. So that big fee. I'm looking at a lot of these big fees, and I'm looking at the players who are going for the big fees, and I'm thinking, I don't know if he's that good. You know what I mean? Like I look at somebody like Elliot Anderson, who again I think is amazing, and then it makes me think, how much is Jude Bellingham worth? Do you know what I mean? Like if I'm
Yeah,
thinking of another Englishman, or how much is Declan Rice worth? If we're saying Elliot Anderson is worth this amount, how much would you pay for these guys? How much does Pep going, Enzo Maresca coming in, does Elliot Anderson coming in, Bernardo Silva's no longer there. Rodri is either going to Real Madrid or he's going to Barcelona. James, this is surely a catastrophic, game-changing summer for Man City. We could see a team fall off a cliff. We could also see a team challenge for the title. I'm just wondering where you sit on that.
Jack. To me, it's the latter. Don't get it twisted. Like to lose a manager like Pep Guardiola is massive. It's a punch in the gut. Why? Because forget about the tactics and all that. The biggest thing that makes me just wow about Pep is him to constantly keep on going, keep on asking more for keep on asking more for his team. They win a treble. Oh, damn, we're gonna win four in a row. What we're gonna do since there's something that he constantly gets out of each player. The question is, can Maresca find that? I'm not saying that Jackie isn't a good manager, but you've seen what it was like moving on from Ferguson. Arsenal, look how long it took us to like get over the Wenger hoodoo. I think it's going to be the exact same thing for City. But let me flip it, Jack. Let's be dead honest with ourselves. When Klopp left Liverpool, he didn't leave Liverpool in a heap of just bunch of really bad players in there. He left them with your Virgil van Dijk's, Trent Alexander-Arnold's, in there, your Diego Jota when he was still there, your Mo Salah. So there was still a team who finished third and who were at a point were going for all four trophies the year thing about it, the year Klopp left. It's kind of a similar thing towards Pep, Jack. Pep left them taking Arsenal the last two games of the season to secure the title. He also left them with a League Cup and an FA Cup, and also young players like Ryan Cherky, Phil Foden, who listen, surely we're going to get something out of in there. Erling Haaland, who still wants to win. Yeah, Ryan, Semedo in there, and Jack just like Reiners, the whole team there is young, and I think a lot of them haven't won the way the previous lot won. So they're hungry to keep on going. They're hungry to make a name for themselves. So I think Pep has left Man City in a very, very healthy way going forward, Jack. Now, Rodri leaving, Bernardo Silva leaving, that's a plus for everybody because you see the demons are gone. Them man there are gone. So we are happy. But at the same time, City still have something to look at, and you have to be scared because it
And
is
look,
still Man City.
yeah, I agree with you, but here's what I would say. If Bernardo Silva was still there and Rodri remains there and Pep left, I'd go, you know what? like with, I'm making this up, but if Mikel Arteta took the City job, never going to happen. But if that did happen, I'd go, they might be a bit worse, but I don't think they're going to be that much worse. The core of the team is still there, and you have coaches who are disciples of the guy who's left. So they're just going to keep the wheels turning. It might not be the same level, but they're going to keep the wheels turning. It will be okay. Pep, Rodri, and Bernardo Silva. Now I start getting a bit worried, right? Because if Rodri goes, I can already see the headlines of Enzo Maresca putting in £100 million bid for Enzo Fernandez from Chelsea, right? Going from Rodri, Bernardo Silva, Reinders, those kinds of guys in midfield, to a midfield of Elliot Anderson and Enzo Fernandez and Buadi, maybe, who would all be new signings, all trying to figure it out, all filling the shoes of a Rodri and a Bernardo Silva, without Pep there to tell them in midfield, by the way, which is the most important position and the one that Pep can teach the most on. That's a massive turnover, a huge, huge turnover. And that has me a bit worried. I don't know how that's going to end up. I wouldn't put anything past City. You made a bunch of very good points there. Semenyo, yes, of course. Ryan Shirky, of course. Phil Foden in a Man City shirt, pretty good. Erling Haaland, probably the best number 9 in the world still. The defense looks pretty solid. I think Kusanov's come on. Donnarumma fits in like a glove and has been pretty great down there. So I think they're going to be there or thereabouts. But I think the loss of all three is kind of mad.
Is mad, but at the same time, Jack, football has to evolve. I'm going to call a player out this year. I think that if he doesn't deliver this year, I think I'm done with him in my opinion. Phil
Yeah,
Foden, this is his moment.
yeah. Well, and
This
and he
Jack,
signed.
go on,
Yeah,
go on.
he signed a new deal. He signed a new deal on loads of money. I think he got a pay rise and all this extra stuff. I'm done with him anyway because I think he's still James. He plays, acts, and just generally feels like a kid still. And that's not okay when you're in your mid 20s and you've played loads of football and you've played international football and Champions League finals and stuff. He needs to grow up, basically, is what I feel like. And that might sound like really harsh criticism. But when I hear the name Phil Foden, I still think of like a 19, 20-year old who's recently made his debut. That's not the case. We're years removed from that. He needs to step up, puff his chest out, and own it. Um,
Jack, I'm
go
just
on.
gonna just one thing. I think he needs to evolve his game, Jack, and I think
Yeah,
Maresca needs to speak to him. You mentioned the fact of oh, City's midfield is a bit inexperienced. They haven't been there. Phil Foden's probably the longest serving player that's been about there. And I remember he says his favorite players were Bernardo Silva, mainly David Silva in there. And David Silva in his time in Man City was able to adjust himself from being a wide player to being a 10 to then being like an 8. And I think
yeah,
Phil Foden needs to kind of do the same, evolve his game a little bit, change it up. Maybe instead of him being this wide player or 10, maybe just drop a little bit deeper. And that might have him having that might secure him a to me just that might secure an opportunity to be at City for a long period of time. And also maybe
yeah.
get back in like into the England team. So he needs to evolve as a player this year, big time.
So let's go to the red side of Manchester. We touched on them very, very briefly. I think you and I can both agree that Andre Santos and Yuri Tielemans for a combined 85 million, while you have Elliot Anderson for 115 and Tonali for 100 and all this kind of stuff is pretty good business, right? I think that's pretty good. But James, I don't know about you. My expectation was you've got a team that played 40 football matches last year because they were kicked out of both cup competitions in the first time of asking, right? In the first round of each one of those. And you've got a bunch of players, some of whom are usually really hurt, like the Luke Shaws of the world and stuff. And you thought, wow, this is going to be a summer. They've got money for the first time in a long time being in the Champions League. Man United are going to sign a ton of players. And look, there's a few weeks left of the window. But realistically, I think a goalkeeper's been signed and like a winger, teenage winger has been signed. But they've really made two first team signings. Carrick came in, most points gotten from the league since he came in. Obviously, it's only a 4, 5, 6 month window for that. But I thought they would kind of explode and really put their foot down. What have you made of their summer? And what if you add in Champions League football and you add in making it to latter rounds of cups for the Carabao and the FA Cup game? How much is this going to impact Manchester United? Are we looking at a seventh, eighth, ninth placed finish, or do you think they're going to be able to carry on?
A couple of things that gotta mention to Marcus Rashford and where he
Yeah,
kind of fits into this whole jigsaw. Because is there a player there, Jack? We know there is a player there, but we know in the last couple of years, Manchester United has been toxic. It hasn't been the right environment for him and the club. But if they can get him playing in there could be something to work with there. I do like the fit of the Man United team. But the biggest problem I have when I look at the Man United team, I think it was fit to play in the Premier League.
Right.
I don't know if they're Champions League sort of outfit. I don't know Brian Mbeumo is going to make the splash that he made, yeah, on the Champions League stage and do it on Champions League on a Wednesday and do it on a Sunday in the Premier League on a week-to-week basis. Because Jack, that this is where the level goes up now. Playing, I get it's Manchester. I know eyes are on them, but the expectations for Man United wasn't high. Yeah, now they have to combine Champions League football and also navigating the league. And based on their signings right now, it's good, but it's nothing that makes you go, wow. It's nothing that makes you think that, oh, Man United are going to challenge this year. They haven't done nowhere near as much. Yeah. To me, another game-changing midfielder has to come in. It's a must for them.
Yeah.
Yeah. You lost Casemiro in there. Kobe Manu, as good as he is he gonna is he gonna make the step up? Is Carrick gonna give him the trust that let's say other managers have given him previously? Ugarte, I know he's had a couple injury issues in there. This team is it's good, but where Man United want to go, yeah, it's not gonna take them there. They needs to be to me a couple to me there's Premier League signings and the Champions League signings. They got to make one or two of these Champions League signing players to put them on in to me to put them on that next level.
Yeah, look, I agree with you. I think Tielemans and Santos are fantastic signings, but I think they need five players, and they've got two of them.
But Jack, is
Um,
Santos really going to make that big of a splash?
so the reports on him I know are from people in Brazil are he's going to be the number six, starting number six for Brazil for the next 10 years and replace Casemiro. Now that's great. He needs to play to a level that means he's better than all other holding midfielders in one of the best countries for producing players that we've ever seen. And that remains to be seen. The Tielemans thing I love. Look, James, you're right. Brian Mbumo is built like Wayne Rooney is built like Luke Shaw. These are not guys who play football matches 2 times a week. If they look at a cheeseburger funny, they put on a couple kilos, right? That's kind of the body
I didn't
shape
say
and
that.
body type.
I didn't
I'm
say
just
that. You
saying
did.
that's the body type we're dealing with. The Rashfords of the world and the Mbumos of the world are built very, very differently. James, Benjamin Sesko is unbelievable, but can he stay fit? Right, that's a major, major challenge. Bruno Fernandes is a year older, and yeah, okay, he's a robot and will be massively influential again. But you get older, your injuries increase. Bruno Fernandes gets hurt, the whole team is screwed. Bruno Fernandes gets removed from this team. This team finished ninth or 10th, and you might think, oh, well, it's a bit much. No, seriously, I think he might be the best player in the league. He's definitely the most influential player in the league on any given team by a country mile. So I think that's scary. They need a left back. They need a striker. We'll have to see. We'll have to see what happens. I do think they'll buy more players. I think if the board and the executives at the end of the window, where they've lost a ton of players and they've got maybe 20 plus more games they're playing next season, and they go, yeah, we signed two players. I don't think they're going to be able to justify that. So I expect them to sign some players, but we'll have to see. A lot remains to be seen with Manchester United. James, Liverpool spent a ton of money on all these players. Obviously, not everybody can start because you're signing a lot of expensive players in the same team. The Isak Ekitike thing comes to mind. They've had another summer where it's been relatively quiet. I think they just got Ronald Araujo on loan from Barcelona, which seems strange to me. You follow Barcelona more closely than I do. Maybe you can shed some light on that. They've got Jacquet. I think Canate obviously went to Real Madrid. So there's some changes at centre back as well. What do we think for Liverpool here? Andoni Iraola, this high pressing football, it'll be kind of Klopp adjacent. And I wonder if a lot of the players who played under Klopp will start listening to Iraola and go, "Oh, we did this kind of stuff under Klopp," and maybe it'll be an easy transition for him. What do you make of Liverpool's chances this year?
Uh, Jack, to me, it's a bit of a strange one because generally with Liverpool, you're going into the unknown. You don't know what Liverpool are going to be based on the fact of I think if they would have kept Slot, I think I probably would have been a bit more confident. But with Iraola, you don't know Jack what he is. because it's listen, playing being a Bournemouth manager is great, but now having the pressure of being a Liverpool manager, it's not like you can win 5 games in a row and then go on like a 4 match, winless run and everybody's all right about it. Every single game is looked at. Every single mistake is looked at. You now have to navigate European football, yet also with also league football. The expectations, yeah, it's just so much higher. And to me, one of the biggest things I'm going to look at is that every year there's a different transition. This is the first year in almost 10 that Liverpool aren't going to have Mo Salah on the right hand side. So having to adapt towards that sort of having to adapt away from that sort of player to me is going to be difficult.
Yeah.
I know we didn't have the greatest season before that, but 25 odd goals, where are you going to get that from right now? The moments that isn't the moments like the moments, the trickery, the running in behind, the passes, where is that going to come from now? I think in the wide areas right now, I'm hearing a lot about like Bradley Barcola. If they can get through that door, if they can get that deal through the door, great signing in there. But at the same time, where is the balance? Because when you look at it, how many left-footed players do Liverpool have, Jack?
Yeah. Well, and all the left
Gen,
foot players they have, they sell.
you
or
know,
yeah, yeah.
so even to say Barcola comes in, his favorite position is on the left-hand side. Um, Ingamo's favorite position is on the left-hand side too. He can play it on the right, but the balance isn't there as much now. So I think when you look at Liverpool, I'm just not sure what to make of it. Like a Rojo
It's
signing, Jack
so
Rojo
yeah.
Rojo signing
No,
can
no.
go either way.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. I think it's incredibly unbalanced, and I think that's basically what you were saying, right? I think if you go on the fact that usually transfers are a 50-50, if you're a recruitment team and you hit on more than 50% of your transfers, you've done a really good thing, right? I think getting obviously Diogo Jota passed away, of course, rest in peace. That's an absolute footballing tragedy, of course, and a human tragedy as well. But losing Jota, not having him obviously available, but then also losing Salah, also losing Luis Diaz, also the list kind of goes on, and you have players who've kind of come in to replace them who play a lot more centrally. And you're only going to really take that spot. If you've got Verts, you've got Ekatike, and you've got Isak, they want to be kind of within the 18-yard box if they can be in terms of their width. You need wide players. Wide players are really, really expensive, and I think it's going to be challenging knowing Iraola, I think it'll be a pressing pattern from the front, but I think that in possession, the width will be provided from the fullbacks. So I think we're going to see a lot of work from Jeremy Frimpong. Whether he can live up to that and be that dominant, most forward, right-sided player, we'll have to see. I think we're going to try and see a lot more from Milos Kerkez, who obviously did work under Andoni Iraola before. So maybe it's going to be the Kerkez Frimpong era we're going to see finally kick off, and then we'll see Verts kind of operate more in the centre with Gravenberch and Soboslai maybe supporting from the inside. But look, James, I agree with you. If the fullbacks, for whatever reason, aren't working or get pinned or come up against a team who aren't going to deal with them appropriately, you need somebody further forward to provide a threat. And I don't see who that is at the moment.
It,
Like you said, Ungamoa, as I remember a preseason quote of him playing on the wrong side, and I think the comments coming out after that were, "You need to be comfortable playing on both sides." So I think whether they like it or not, Liverpool wingers, even if they've got a preferred side, Iraola is going to say, "Hey, I don't care where you prefer to play. You need to be good on both sides, so I get the freedom of choice and flexibility."
it,
Um,
it,
Go on.
Jack, just one more thing. Another thing that I think we need to probably be aware of is that we talk about like everybody needing wingers. Another position I think a lot of teams need is midfielders. I know Arsenal probably the strongest midfield in there, but Man United, I spoke about needing that second midfielder in there, that six. One of Liverpool's biggest issues was the fact that midfield was very, very thin in terms
Yeah,
of before you couldn't play through Liverpool's midfield. Jack, think about it. It was a high press. It was like it was players getting in your face, winning first and second balls, players who can cover big spaces. Yeah, and think about it, stop that ball from getting played in behind. Yeah, they Jack right now they did like they don't have that. And like when you have players like McAllister who didn't come off his greatest
I forgot about McAllister. Yeah,
season. I'm just trying to remember who was the second player in the middle there for Liverpool.
Gravenberch.
Grab love it. Gravenberch in there, who's had an injury hit sort of season in there. where is that second player coming from? Are
Bob is
Liverpool
like,
working on that? So
but
Bob's like,
but
are they going to
he's
free him up?
well, but
Go on.
he's your Valverde, isn't he? He's your I can play there, and it's like, well, you can play there not because you're necessarily great there, but it's because you're a good footballer, and you can probably play anywhere on the pitch if you want to. But you want to put him in a position where he can succeed, right? He's a good player. You don't want him to just fill the gaps, right? Um, so let's talk about Chelsea. Chelsea, who it's another transfer window, and if you're paying attention to your Twitter feed or your Threads feed or wherever you get your news, they've already signed, I think, 11 or 12 players, which is absolutely insane. Two of those players are 36-year-old Jordan Henderson and 37-year-old Danny Welbeck, or I may have that the wrong way around, which is kind of crazy. Although I like the Welbeck pickup, to be fair for them. I think that's smart. They've got a bunch of wing backs. Giovanni Kenda finally signs from Sporting Lisbon. They signed Luca, is it Chivari or something like that from is it Bologna or Atalanta? They signed a wing back from there. They've signed another fullback from somewhere else. They've signed this guy from here, this guy from here, this guy from here, this guy from here. Andre Santos has left the club. It's all turnover. It's all change. Xabi Alonso's never managed in the Premier League. The head coach title has been dropped. Xabi Alonso is manager, not head coach, for the first time in Blueco's history of them doing this. Cole Palmer, Enzo Fernandez wants to leave. João Pedro signs a new 6 or 7 year deal after having only signed for the club last season. It seems like chaos to me. The only kind of players who seem to me to be the consistent parts of the team are now being sold. Trevor Chalobah's gone, I think, to Como, I want to say, for like 30 million euros. Injury hit Lavia, Colwill, Fafana. Chelsea to me seem like a team just in absolute chaos. And the game is played on grass. But if you see the team and the squad depth on paper, you think maybe this team could surprise some people. Are you buying in to any sort of hope for Chelsea, or is it going to be the same old up and down season that we always get from them?
I think Xabi Alonso just put such an X factor to it that we just don't know what Chelsea is going to be.
Right.
You respect what Xabi Alonso did. I know it's Tom Real Madrid people look, but I think you look at his win percentage there, it was actually really good. You know, he brings an X factor to Chelsea that you believe that if he gets it right, Jack, you're looking at a team who can possibly challenge. Yeah, no Champions League football. Yeah, and I guarantee you the focus will just be on the Premier League. Chelsea have to get champion. Chelsea have to get Champions League football this year. And I think Alonso, looking at the way the Premier League is with the uncertainty, he's going to believe that they can challenge. I think one of the biggest things that Chelsea are going to need to swallow their pride on this year is to speak to Nicholas Jackson and ask him to come back.
I agree.
If they can do that in there, yeah. And I know João Pedro's been really good for them too, but having Jackson in there frees up so much. Cole Palmer has been wishy-washy this season. You will see a completely different player with a player like Jackson in there. A player that loves to Jack. There's something that you cannot buy when a player wants to run in behind.
Yeah.
Players who come to feet, as good as it is, you might have, if you don't have runners in there, it's not as effective. When a player stretches a team, it opens up so much. When you have players like Morgan Rogers, yeah, Cole
I
Palmer,
forgot
Jack,
about Morgan Rogers.
you know what? No, but Jack, what are they going to want?
Yeah.
They're going to want space to run in, like into. They're going to want to slide balls in. Morgan Rogers is going to want to receive the ball and know that, oh, you've gone in there. So you've now given me 20, 30 meters of space right now that I can drive into. Yeah. So I think Jackson is going to be a massive factor if they can convince him to stay. Yeah.
Yeah.
I,
I
I,
so first of all, absolutely agree with you. 100% agree with you. That's what they should do. I know the way Xabi Alonso is going to want to play. You have that kind of Ruben Amorim style three. So you have that narrow two tens and a striker. Your 117 million pound left winger probably has to start because you can't have that person on the bench. That's insane. So Rogers has taken up that left 10. We know that. Your best player is the other guy who's probably going to have to start, right? And best player, that's up for debate, but I think we'd all generally say that's Cole Palmer. So he's in the other 10. João Pedro was your best player from last year and has just signed, after only being at the club 1 year, another 5 or 6 year deal. So he's going to start. So I think they're going to want to move Nicholas Jackson on. Although I think you're absolutely right, by the way. I think he should play because he opens up the space that those other guys like to work in. I'm expecting a lot more sales from Chelsea because, James, you mentioned it. If you're just in the Premier League, okay, the odd Carabao Cup or FA Cup game, but if you're just in the Premier League, these players need competitive matches to play. Because if they're on the bench and they're coming on, it's not, oh, this is great depth. They're not fit. They're not match fit if they're just sat on the bench once a week.
Well, Jack, and I think one of the biggest things that we didn't mention is that Chelsea now have it going into, I think, the next 2 summers or next 2 windows going to be a
So, James, after we were very rudely interrupted by the Zoom meeting finishing, I believe you were talking about the impact on Chelsea's impending transfer ban.
Yeah, to me, like, okay, so Chelsea gonna, I think what's gonna happen, they're gonna miss two tr next transfer windows. So I think the pressure is they probably have to sign now. So don't be surprised, Jack, if you see a couple big splashes. I've been seeing a lot about Zubimendi being
Oh, wow.
involved in there. And Jack, when I look at that player who can play a bit simple, who can I think about who can thread the ball forward. And also, I think it might open up Caicedo a little bit more. So you got to ask yourself right now, is Enzo Fernandez a player that can really benefit this Chelsea team? Because Jack, it's not like we've seen this fit with Enzo and Caicedo for how many seasons now, and it has never really taken off the way it should have. They've been a
No.
partnership for long enough now. And you at Chelsea, your Chelsea fans, a lot of the best times that Fernandez has had, Caicedo's had, it's when he's been freed up to kind of move about the place, to kind of get stuck in, to close. I'm thinking about the close players down, and I can guarantee you, in a Javi Alonso team, he's going to want high press. He's going to want players who can get in players' faces. So I look at what maybe Zubimendi could bring to a Chelsea team. I think, yeah, that could be a possibility. So maybe a deep line player for Chelsea. So I don't think Chelsea are done just yet. I think they're going to sign enough players to keep them afloat going into the next two transfer bans.
So Rodri to Spain, Enzo to City to follow Maresca, and then maybe Zubamendi to Chelsea. Is that what we're kind of, you know, conjuring up here, do we think?
Um, it sounds like a
It
plan.
sounds about
The
right.
end the Enzo one, I don't know. Does he make City that much better?
I'd say
Defender,
probably
does he
not,
make?
but I think if you lose Rodri and you lose Bernardo Silva, I think the board are going to look at that and go, "Well, don't worry, we've spent like 250 million pounds on new midfielders. So if you can't work with that, we have a problem." Because it's. I would argue again. I'm really biased because I think he's amazing, but the best midfielder from last year, and Elliot Anderson, I thought he was phenomenal. And then you've got Enzo Maresca's like hand-picked player that he would want from midfield as well. So I think if you bring those two guys in, then you've got to be thinking at that point, okay, Nico Gonzalez is there, Reinders is there, Foden's there. We've got to be able to make something work out of that. But yeah, look, James, I don't know what to say about Chelsea. I know that the game a week thing is going to massively benefit them, and they're going to absolutely go for it in every single game. Whereas other teams might be a bit more distracted and a bit more tired, a bit more running in the legs. But yeah, we're going to have to wait. We're going to have to wait and see. I think top four, top five is probably likely, and I don't think it's going to be because they're amazing. Again, lack of distractions. We saw the benefit Man United got last season from that as well. Last but not least, well, kind of least because of where they finished the last 2 seasons. Spurs. De Zerbi nearly got relegated. Seriously, nearly got relegated, and actually only did a point better than they did the year before, which is a crazy thing to say. £100 million for Sandro Tonali, £85 million for Mateus Fernandez, who's been relegated in consecutive seasons. I know that's not his fault, but that's just what people like to say. Who else did they get? They got the centre back who I'm messing up on, the Bournemouth guy who went on a free transfer. Oh, come on. You got to help me with this. Free transfer, Italian
Oh,
centre.
they got, oh my days, they got
Begins with
Andy
an S.
Robertson. They got Andy
They got
Robertson in.
Robertson. Okay, the people I'm sure are screaming at their phones or their laptops or whatever right now. But
All right, Jack, you carry on.
yeah, you're
I'll
going to
find
find
it.
him. Great. Well, James, while you're going to be searching that, I just wanted to ask you: do either of those midfielders move the needle like we might want them to? because I think Bergval's okay. I've always been quite fond of Bentancur, although he has some serious issues in his game. I think Papimata Sarr has been a nice player at points in his past. I think that the guy Gallagher, Conor Gallagher, who was previously at Chelsea, is kind of a serviceable midfielder. None of these jump off the page and go, oh my God, these guys are unbelievable. But do we think Mateus Fernandez, who has been relegated in consecutive seasons, and Sandro Tonali, who I know people rave about, but to me, he doesn't really pass the eye test a massive amount. Tonali strikes me as like a stats guy. So in nearly every category, he's quite high up within like meaningful midfield statistics. But on the eye test, I see kind of a pretty good or above average all round midfielder. I don't know if I'm wrong on that. Do you think this 185 million pound midfield upgrade is going to be worth it?
De Zerbi. De
Okay.
Zerbi is an elite level manager.
Yeah.
Jack, I think he's had his moments at Marseille, but what he brought to Brighton, I know Brighton are a bit of an institution where anybody can come in. It's a bit of a plug and play. But you ask probably a lot of Bournemouth fans, what was the highest point? They'll probably say when De Zerbi was there, the way he got them playing in his overall understanding, Jack, is just superb. And Jack, when he gets what he wants, he will deliver.
Right.
Jack, I can't go past what he has planned for this team. Yeah. Now he's given the whole summer everything he wants in there. And it's not a thing where Spurs haven't sacrificed and gave all the financial or like all the financial money to him. They have done that now. I look at what they've been able to like bring in. And Jack, what they had, because at the same time, let's be dead honest with ourselves, Jack. How many injuries did Spurs have last season?
Yeah,
Let's
it
be
was,
real
it was a
ourselves.
lot. Yeah,
A
yeah, yeah.
lot of these players are going to come back. A lot of these players are going to be fully fit. With what he can bring, yeah, and what they have coming back in and what the new players they have too. This is a team that is ready to at least challenge the top six. I'm not saying get Champions League football, but to me, maybe Europa League football might be the way to go for this team. And I keep on saying this, Jack. They have no other distractions. It's just the league. And the
Um,
biggest thing for Tottenham is about breaking that hold of 2 seasons in a row, finishing the bottom half. They got to get back in the top half. And what they've done this year is by far enough to get in the top half and to me succeed in getting back into the top six.
so the two midfielders are a big deal. Romero leaving, which will happen. I don't know where, but that will happen. I
I
think
let
that
it go.
has to be a good thing. I just refuse to. I think what did Gary Neville call him? He's like the best. He's like the the best worst centre back he's ever seen. Like he's capable of making mistakes, but sometimes he's does stuff where you go, "That's unbelievable." I think it's a net good for him to leave. Those are not words you want to describe your centre back as. You want steady, easy. You basically don't want to hear from your centre back, to be honest with you, because they keep a clean sheet. What's it? Van Dijk never got dribbled past, and it's because forwards never dribble at him because they know they're probably going to lose the ball. So like those are the kind of stats you want out your centre back. They've signed Van Hecker, who he knows well. That was an expensive deal. I did some digging into why that was because I think he's kind of underwhelming. His line breaking passes are one of the highest in the league, which is, I know, a statistical category that a lot of these modern coaches are looking for. Excuse me. They're looking for players who can play through the lines very, 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 very quickly. The other one, which I did Google, is Marcos Senesi, the centre back, the Italian centre back from Bournemouth, who they've signed as well. Mickey van der Ven looks like he's staying. Jed Spence had this like weird kind of breakout World Cup where apparently he's one of the best left backs in the league right now. I think that kind of remains to be seen, but maybe he can crack on. Pedro Porro, I think is brilliant. I really do think he's an unbelievable fullback. The midfield changes. I am worried about the attack. I don't think Solanke is that guy. Kulusevski, especially after his injuries, hasn't been great. I don't think they've ever replaced Kane. I don't think they've ever replaced Son. Madison keeps getting hurt. I don't know where these goals are going to
Savine,
come from.
apparently, so they're looking at Silvino. Maybe they can get a tune out of him, Jack. Because when he does get going, Jack, he is a problem. 1v1, he's a player that can trouble a lot. But I do understand what you said. It's not a attack that's going to be like, where are the goals going to come from? Another player I'm going to mention, Jack Kudus. Can
Oh
he
yeah,
get back to the form? So
right.
there's so many players coming out the woodwork for Spurs that you forget about. What happens if they can get them fit?
Who is the guy? Who is the guy from Bayern who was signed around the time as Pelham won?
Oh, the midfielder. I can't
Not
remember.
Palhinha, not Palhinha.
No.
The winger. The I think he's French.
Oh! I can't remember his name. I can't remember his name.
Damn, because I think he's nice, but I think he needs some consistency and a bit of love. Right, let's have a look. I'm just going to pull this up quick, and then we'll call it there. Xabi Simmons is still there. I've completely forgotten he existed.
Jack,
Um,
this is what Jack there. Jack, there's a team there that can definitely trouble. You know, you do have to where are that consistent goals going to come from, but there's definitely a team there for sure.
yeah, I agree. Oh, maybe it was on loan. He doesn't seem to be. Oh, Mattis Tell. But yeah, I think they might be able to get a tune out of him as well. And obviously, Richarlison is there too. Yeah, James, interesting. Great to chat to you about these teams. I think hopefully everybody watching will realise the difference between each of the teams is actually very very slim. There's things to worry about with each one, but there's also upsides about them as well. And you can see the smile on my face. I think this season is going to be absolutely crazy. And I hope that it is. I think James is hoping for more of the same from last year, but I don't know if we're going to get that or not. Guys, like, share, subscribe, do all that wonderful stuff. Drop a comment. Any takes we've had here, crazy. James, anything else from you, mate?
Guys, like, share, and subscribe. Watch your video and give your opinion. And at the end of the day, will Martin Odegaard be holding the Premier League and the Champions League this season? Let me know down below.
All right, guys, we'll see you in the next one. Until next time, see ya.